Hello, good evening and welcome to Winners and Losers. Seany's having a meltdown over the intro music. Phil has just left because of the music. Dicko's, please God, stays here because he's in his lair. The internet's all over the shop. The lighting's all over the shop.
I was literally waiting for an episode of the Rugrats to start on my laptop or something.
There was somebody in the chat there. The last oh yeah, Red Steve says, evening Reds, who's your loser? The 3 United fans that walked out or the Norwich fans that didn't even bother? Funny you say that, Red Steve, because Seany, in the last minute change of heart, has changed his losers of the week. He will come to that in a little bit. But you are welcome to Winners and Losers from the LFC Daytrippers. It is Monday night. You know how it works. The lads all bring a winner of the weekend and a loser of the weekend, and we talk about them and we try to get out of your way. We're in about an hour. If you're watching, hit the like button. If you're subscribed, great. If you haven't, subscribe, share, and of course, put your comments in the chat, and we'll read out as many as we possibly can as we go. Phil, Seany, Dicko, you're all very, very welcome. I'm going to start with Dicko while the internet looks like it's working, and we just all cross our fingers. Dicko, you choose, winner or loser. You go for it, Dicko. Which one would you like to go with first?
Let's start. I'm going to start with my loser this week. Yeah, I am, and it's the relegation battle, and it's Leeds. Really, I mean, they've gone from kind of being on the beach, sort of some of the players maybe getting the flip flops out, to being absolutely Burnley 9 points, Everton getting a win. All of a sudden, they drew. Well, obviously not the last game because they got trounced by City, but a point at Palace, and I think they felt that was a great point.
Every week, Phil.
I hate this fucking thing. Seriously. It's like,
go on, Dicko.
And they've been dragged into it, and they're in, for me now, they're in the most precarious position of all, because they've got to switch that mentality now from potentially thinking they're safe to actually being dragged straight back into it. And I was having a look at the fixtures there, and they've actually got some tricky fixtures. They've still got to play Chelsea and Arsenal. Mm-hmm. I think the last 2 games are a little bit easier, but when you look at Burnley's, they've got to play Villa twice, and they've got winnable games. Like they could potentially get, say, 3 wins, and then Everton's. They've obviously picked up 3 points against Chelsea there. They seem to have some kind of formula where they've gone a bit more negative, but it's working for them. Time waste, not really worried about possession or keeping the ball. They're just now and they seem to be able to carve out results all of a sudden, and they've got couple of very winnable home games. So I think Leeds this week are my losers because they are absolutely in a relegation battle again.
Kev O'Sullivan says the big injuries, losing Dallas and Cooper, is huge. Cooper was out for a good while, centre back, and he was back now. He's gone again. Dallas looks, I think his season's over. From what I've seen,
look nasty.
Season is over. Seany, Leeds a couple of weeks ago, we're looking at it going more or less, they got a good couple of results. I think one of them was away at Watford where they win 3-0 and you're thinking, they're okay now. And now they just become, and then when you look at their running and who they have, like Dicko said, the form they're in, the players they're losing, you'd nearly make them favourites to go down now, Seany.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think Burnley seem to have a little bit of a bounce from your man, the assistant coach, and Mike Jackson and Ben Mee, and everything had just seemed to be just getting those little ones that they need, and everything fought for the first time on the weekend. Really, that I noticed, and I didn't see that in them, and they look like they're going again. But Leeds look in big trouble. And Gav, I don't know whether you remember, but when we did the preview shows at the start of the season, we done teams to go down, and I backed Leeds to go down this season because I genuinely reckon that they needed to sign 7 or 8 players in the window last year to maintain the level that they did. Because one of the things that flashed up at the end of last season was how much they nearly out-sprinted the second team with the most sprints by double. And I was thinking, that is not sustainable. It's not sustainable with that squad that they had and that type of football. They were going to break down. And literally this whole season, they've just been riddled with injuries. They've hardly had Phillips. They've hardly had Bamford. And they've struggled. And it did look like they were home and house there for a bit. But they're in big, big trouble now. And much like I just see Burnley and everything getting more points between now and the end of May, and I think that will end up with them going down. And I think they'll kick themselves because, like Dicko said, it looked like they were smelling themselves a little bit after a couple of big results. So yeah, I can see them going down. And to be honest, that would fucking wreck my head because it literally looked like a stage where we were picking between Burnley and Everton to go down, and it was going to be one of them. So I would have been like, Everton go down, it's all kinds of crack. If Burnley go down, we don't have to fucking play Burnley next year. But it looks like we're going to lose Leeds, which, to be honest, doesn't really do anything for me, positive or negative, because I think if they go down again, they will struggle to get back up, because I thought Bielsa was the little bit of magic that they needed to get back up into the Premier League. And I think our man Marsh is a bit of a waffler, to be honest with you. I think he'd be found out quick, fast down the championship.
In the championship. They've got a terrible goal difference as well.
They've an awful goal difference because they've been hammered a good few times. Like I think,
and that's the thing. Like
you can see the 9 or 10 to us.
They're one of them teams where you go, they actually played all right. No, they didn't. They got fucking battered 4-0. They put it up to them. They didn't. That's shit. They can't score goals and they can see the fuck ton. And they've injuries now boiling up. I reckon they're goosed.
Thor says Burnley and Leeds both on 34. People think Leeds are the bigger danger, but would you really trust Everton? Phil, we spoke a while ago about the top 4, and do you trust Spurs? Do you trust Arsenal? Do you trust United at the time? Who do you trust the most to try to get out of this? Because Everton are 2 points. I think they're 2 points behind both Leeds and Burnley. They have a game in hand. I think that game in hand might be Leicester. I could be wrong, but it's definitely.
I think it's Watford. I think it's Watford. Gav,
Watford might be their game in hand. The midweek one, but Phil, you look at Leeds run in. You look at Everton. Like the lad said, they've just changed the way they're playing. They're just fighting now and just not bothered with having the ball, just trying to get points. Leeds running is horrendous. What do you rake of it? Do you think Leeds are in serious trouble?
Burnley goes.
You think Burnley go?
I think they've had to run for him. This is all about timing.
2 games against Villa.
But this is all about timing your run. So if you look at Everton and Leeds, they've both been sort of bouncing between draw, win, draw, loss, win, that type of thing, right? Burnley have now won 3 on the bounce. It's going to be very hard for them to replicate. Like if they win 7 on the bounce, they'll have form that will be putting them into the top 5. Don't mind it anywhere else. I just don't see that happening. If you talk about 40 points, typically keeps you up. I still think they'll need whoever's going to stay up is going to need 40 points. So Everton need to get 8 points from where they are, and someone else is going to need to get 6. So Leeds or Burnley need to get 6, and I don't see Burnley winning 2 of their last 4. As I said, I just think they've had their run. You know the way you always see teams get these runs. Yeah. And what's going to happen is it's the reaction after their first loss. So the first loss that Burnley have now, or first drop points where they don't win a game, and say Everton or Leeds pick up points, right? That puts them in front of them. That's when the question mark comes on, and that's where I think they fall down. I don't care who goes, to be honest with you.
I'm looking there. Leeds are bollocks. Like they play Arsenal, then Chelsea. Then
Chelsea are fucked up.
Yeah, and that's
three of Chelsea's last games out of the last 4 is at home. Whatever way it's fallen now.
Well, have you seen Chelsea's recent home record in terms of season goals?
That's the thing. Like they're going to be playing a Chelsea side who are probably going to need results now.
I don't know, because you see Spurs play Arsenal, and that means that's 1 less game for them to try catch Chelsea. But I think Arsenal are only 3 points off Chelsea now. Spurs are 5 off them. If Chelsea were to lose another game and let's say Spurs were to beat Arsenal, then you'd be looking at Spurs on 64, Chelsea on 66, Arsenal on 63. It could get
and
really
the last
interesting.
day of the season, they're all playing to stay in the top 4.
Yeah.
Which is mad. Like, so.
But you think about Seany last year, Chelsea were home and hosed in 3rd place and ended up finishing 4th.
And they lost on the last day, and they only ended up in 4th because Leicester shit the bed.
Yeah.
So it's a bit mad. Like, it's mental, like the parallels between last season and this season now, in how tight top 4 is at the going. Bar the top 2, the front 2 being miles out ahead, and then the scrap at the bottom. Like, there's a few teams on the beach there in the middle who could have a massive say in where the league ends up and who goes down. So it's going to be mad. There's only a month left in the season, and I'm looking there. I think Leeds could be fucked, to be honest with you, because I think they
seem to play the most teams with something to play for.
Yeah, but like the Brighton and Brentford the last 2, but they need to basically win them 2.
Yeah, they would. I don't think they'll have any opportunity to slip up in those games. I mean, the last games of the season, which I think it's likely to go down to Arsenal, Everton, Brentford, Leeds, Burnley, Newcastle. I mean, if I'm in Burnley's shoes and I need to win to stay up, I'd be fairly confident. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a mad one. But Phil, you're sticking with Burnley before we move on.
Yeah. I just think it's about the laws of averages when it comes down to it. I'd love to see Everton go out of the trade, and I'd just love to see Everton go because
I think we all would.
Terrible club and terrible bunch of fans, so it'd be good to see the back of them. Burnley was playing football.
Loads of cop-eye behaviour from them from the weekend, though. It was great to see.
Oh, great shout, Gav. Absolutely great shout, because they found it in a cop-eye now, haven't they?
Yeah, like literally, when Liverpool fans let off fireworks outside Barcelona's hotel a couple of years back, they were like, call the busies, right? And then when Liverpool started welcoming buses to Anfield, they were like, why don't you just go to the pub like a normal fan? And then they're giving out that the atmosphere at Anfield is manufactured. And in one weekend, they've let off fireworks outside the hotel. They've welcomed the bus with some flares, and they've put thousands of plastic flags inside Goodison Park before the game against Chelsea. So,
well, the plastic flags is suits them down to the ground.
Cop-eye behaviour.
Every team that's really shit has plastic flags. Think of Chelsea, City, Everton now go on the list. Spurs have them as well.
Newcastle did it the weekend.
Newcastle did it as well. So if you adopt the plastic flag moniker, you deserve what you get. You should. Our whole club should be born to the ground. That's how I feel about it.
Okay. Seany, winner or loser, pick. You can do whatever you like.
I'll go with winner because it's like a lovely little segue away from everything. My winner is the most underrated manager of our generation, and it's Carlo Ancelotti. Wins league title in Spain again. He's the first manager to win all 5 major leagues in history. So he's done Spain, Italy, France, England, and Germany. He does Germany, doesn't he? He manages
Bayern Munich.
Yeah. So and he walked away from that shy. And he just walked away from everything, saying he 2 years lockdown and everything going, right, I'm fucking out here at the first opportunity. And he just walks into Madrid, and they're playing Wednesday in the Champions League semi-final, and they win it. They're on for the treble because he won the cup as well in Spain. So I think he's a brilliant manager. I think he's overlooked when the conversation comes around of Mourinho and Pep and all them. I think it's not like he's a steady Eddie. And then just the picture of him going around with the boys and the cigar, I think he's very understated. I think he's a top man, and I think he deserves his flowers, Carlo Ancelotti. I think he's a top manager, and it was no surprise to see on that list that we had of who was going to replace Rodgers that right behind Klopp, Carlo Ancelotti was on the list as well. So we go for him it'll boil a little bit of piss on Wade's side as well, because he completely left them in the lurch.
Yeah, Antio says, yes, Sean, he loved that proper vintage manager, and he has almost 100% record against Pep.
He's a brilliant manager, and even how difficult he made it for us to beat that Napoli side.
Yeah.
He was a real pain in the arse. I think he's an excellent manager, and I don't know how he ended up at everything, to be honest with you. But he's doing some job, and to be honest with you, he'll go up even further in me estimations again if he does a job on them on Wednesday night. So fair play to Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah, he did. He left Everton, and then when he left, Everton fans told you he was overhyped anyway, as somebody just said in the chat. Chris said the Blues said he was shite and overhyped, but he's a very likeable man, Carlo Ancelotti, and I think I always liked him. Even when we beat his AC Milan side in 2005, but the way he was treated at Chelsea was appalling. I think that's one of the best Chelsea. Doesn't he? Yeah, I think it's one of the best Chelsea sides you've seen. I would rank it above their 04-05 side or 05-06 side. I thought it was an outstanding football team. I had a lot of respect for him when he went and done the Napoli job, because it's Carlo Ancelotti. You could probably wait 6 months and go anywhere. But he's a very, very likeable fella, and he is, like the two lads feel like Carlo Ancelotti. I think Seany's right. I think he goes down as probably one of the best managers of all time.
Carlo Ancelotti is the best manager for once you have all the dominoes in place. That's the way I've always seen Ancelotti. Did a brilliant job at AC Milan, incredible job at Juventus. Does an incredible job no matter where he goes once the pieces are in place. I did the only question that I had over him was the Everton job. Like, and to be fair, it was probably him saying, well, I'm going to try to do something that I've never done before, which is go to a mid-table average club and try to do something with them.
Probably promised an awful lot as well, in fairness.
Well, like, they've spent more money than everyone bar City and United. Mm-hmm. Like, let's be honest about this. Everton have put like nearly 600, 700 million into the team since 2016. So like that, like he spent an awful lot of money, but I can understand, and I actually respect him for it. It's something that I'd love to see Guardiola do. It's my biggest criticism of Guardiola is that he hasn't gone and tried to build something, whereas our boss has done it twice now. Almost he failed at Mainz, which would have been, but it failed in a way that he got them promoted, just didn't manage to take them on to the next level with them. So, for me, I'm with Ancelotti, incredible manager. If Klopp was to go tomorrow, put it this way: if Klopp was to go tomorrow, and you're trying to figure out who can we get in that will continue this success on, right? Continue this team on. Ancelotti would be definitely there as one of the names, because you just know that with a good squad there and with the right players in place, he has a way of managing a team that isn't all about here's my system and you have to fit my system. You have to do what you have to do. He seems to just go in, a bit like what's your man, the Pat Riley. He wasn't born into a system. He basically just looked at the players and found out the best way to maximize the potential that's out of the players. So if you get him as a manager and put him in an incredibly talented squad, he'll build a system and a method and a tactical approach to a game that maximizes everything he has in that squad, and that's why he's done so well at Real Madrid.
And going to what Phil said there, Florentino Perez said during the week about him that whenever he's in a pickle about management, he literally, the first thing he always does is call Ancelotti to say, look, can you come back here and sort it out? Because he delivered the biggest pressure trophy in the history of football, I reckon. The decimate, that Champions League at Madrid that he couldn't get over the line for so long. He breaks the back and he comes in and he wins it. And it's not like he's a break glass manager, but that's exactly what Phil said. Perez said Madrid knew they weren't going to spend mad money, and he knew if he could get a manager to come in and work with the players that were there and not kick up a fuss calling out for all of these players to come in, that he would be the perfect one to do it. And he's proven so, because they've been really good in La Liga this season, and it showed in Europe. I know they have their frailties at the back, but like he's that good that I wouldn't be surprised if they did a job on City on Wednesday. So yeah, that's why he's my winner of the week, because he is a winner. That's exactly what Carlo Ancelotti is, and he has been in the majority of the clubs where he's gone, where there was a little bit of structure. And the fact that Everton are where they are now since he's left would probably say it was more about what was fucking going on in the club than Carlo Ancelotti.
He is a winner, Gav. but he does win trophies unlike David Moyes, because we all know that
David Moyes thing down in
you don't have to win trophies, but you
don't have to win trophies to be a winner, and he is a winner. The best David Moyes thing I've ever seen. It's in it's a mural in that Bowser, isn't it?
Taft's Tavern.
What's the pub?
In the Brick, is it?
No, it's not in the Brick. I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, Dicko, Carlo Ancelotti, have your word on him, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I mean, look, just on Everton, he
just
can't
get away from Everton. Just can't.
But as far as obviously, yeah, he's won the league. Arguably, the league is, Barcelona are sort of having a bad time of it. Atletico not quite at the peak of their powers. I suppose you could argue the competition hasn't been fantastic. And if you want to be ultra critical as well, I actually think they've rode the league amazingly rode the luck amazingly in the Champions League. They could have been gone against PSG. I thought Chelsea had them dead and buried, but fair play, between I suppose the manager has to take a bit of credit, and Benzema's bailed them out big time. I still don't see them getting past Man City tomorrow night.
I agree.
Let's not forget they're only a few weeks down the road from being absolutely spanked by Barcelona. Watched that game and they were absolutely embarrassed. So you just never know. As I say, fair play. He's won the league. You just never know what's around the corner with Real Madrid, do you? We could be talking at Christmas and he could be out. A different story, but I've admired him. But it could be no doubt if he lost his job at Real Madrid, he did still be plenty of clubs who were clambering to get him in and do a job for them. He's certainly a long way from being finished, that's for sure.
Definitely, I think he's had a brilliant career, and it's not over yet. We'll see on Wednesday night. It's do you know what? It's one of those where I'm going to watch on Wednesday night and go, whatever happens. Once Liverpool get through, I'm fully prepared to face either of them in the final and beat them. So, but I'd love Ancelotti to do Pep, and Pep's head will explode in the Bernabeu. And do you know what? At about 11 o'clock on Wednesday night, when they've gone through penalties and all sorts of stuff, rock, paper, scissors, everything, marbles, whatever they can play, just so Ancelotti can get over the line, and Pep absolutely goes mental. Phil, winner or loser, you can choose.
I'm going to go with winner, which is the lead on from your Pep thing. Manchester City. For me, Manchester City were the biggest winners at the weekend. We're running out of games for them to drop points in at this stage. It's a bastard of a win that they put up as well, because they get loads of goals and narrow the goal difference on us. And you look at the last 4 games we have to go between the two of us, and you start thinking to yourself, where are they going to drop points? Straight up, because it doesn't matter how many games you've won behind you at this stage. When you've only got 4 games in front of you, they're just dominoes. You're just knocking them down one by one, and you just look at it. The teams are already going back to Seany's point. The teams they're going to face, they may as well be playing a granny side from Benidorm at this rate, because they aren't even putting out teams. They aren't even interested in playing against them. It was an embarrassment what happened at the weekend, but I just hope I just sort of hope something mad happens, because it's very disappointing after having the high of Klopp's announcement last Wednesday. After getting towards it was last week, all the days run all into one. But you get to Saturday, you managed to scrape through that Newcastle game, just about get. No, when I say just about, we didn't. We dominated them, and they were shite. Do you know what I mean? We just didn't score goals. But then you're hoping for something. It doesn't happen, and then you're just there going, for fuck's sake, it's only 4 left. They have to drop something somewhere. It's just the fact it's not. I wish the last game of the season was us against them. And I don't mean the Champions League, I'm just talking about the league, right? Because at least it could come down to one game, yeah.
They'd be fucking deadly. There is games.
Bring in the Super Bowl of football, that's what I say. Bring in the Super Bowl, just get them all in top 4 into a playoff.
There is games running out, but I won't. No, I'm not giving up hope that
I know you're not giving up. And Gav, look,
and you know what? But I will say to you, when you see, say, City going back 10 years ago, and United Arsenal or Chelsea, whoever was in races going back, probably before 2018, even if you look at us in 2013-14, with 4 or 5 to go, you'd nearly know something was going to happen. Something will happen. You know, like City are 8 points behind United with 6 games to go in 2012, aren't they? And beat them to the title. You know, we have that Gerrard thing in 13-14. You see different things. Arsenal and United were the same. Arsenal, remember, had loads of games in hand, but you were 8 points behind, 3 games in hand. You win them, go ahead, win at Old Trafford in 98, I think it was. You see all that. I do take your point, though, because with these two, it's like, no, this is just relentless. This is fucking... If you want to find me 2 teams where there's next to no chance of something fucking mad happening, it's these 2. And they've shown it over the last 3 or 4 years. But at the same time, I actually think what happens on Wednesday night with Man City is huge. I think if they lose on Wednesday night, I think genuine heads could roll everywhere. And Liverpool going into a final and letting City know they're in a final, I think anything could happen. But Seany, City are big winners of the weekend. They closed that goal difference. I think it's only 1 goal in it now or something like that between us, Seany. But you just have to keep going to the end, Seany, don't you? That's just all you can do.
Look, that's the way it's been really since we clawed back this. It was always just going to be a matter of keeping them honest and having to be perfect. And I go back to what Shane said last week, a couple of weeks ago. We could win 16 out of our last 17 and not win the league, and that's just the level that both of these teams are at. And it's not something that we should become accustomed to, because I feel like this is like the way Messi and Ronaldo normalised 50 and 60 goal seasons. This is madness. Like, to get 96 points and 95 points and 97 points in 2 seasons and have 0 league titles to show for it, it's bonkers. Like, it's unheard of. And I don't think there shouldn't be an art. Like, what will annoy me more than anything is the shite that you'll see online is that Liverpool bottled that and this game costs us and that game costs us. That's just not how it works. Over a 38 game season, the best team always wins. And that's the way it is. If City get over the line and win the next 4, all you can do is tip the hat to them. All we can do is look to take the rest off them. So you can turn around and say at the end, look, we gave it a go. We lost the league by a point. We beat them to a Carabao Cup. We won the FA Cup where we beat them in the semi-final, and then we went on to beat them in the Champions League. We're a better team, and we'll go again next year. And that's all you can really do, because it's kind of out of their hands in that sense. And I was of the belief that they would slip somewhere, but the thing that's kind of killed it for me is just how shite some of the teams I expect them to come up against have been. Like, Wolves battered by Brighton at home the weekend, and West Ham are in limbo now where they could be a game away from Champions League football if they get to a Europa League final, or they might need points to stay in the Conference League or Europa League spot. So it's hard to know. I get your point with mad stuff happening down the years, but mad stuff doesn't happen with these teams because they just beat everyone that's in front of them. So it's hard to say. All we can do now is keep them honest. I think nearly every week before the last day we play before them now, and literally all we can do is win and try put pressure on them, because the thing that I thought City would struggle with was getting goals, but they seem to be getting them from set pieces and deflections and scrappy ones now. And yeah, man, Jesus is a striker all of a sudden. So it is disappointing. The fact that we're probably looking at a season where we win 3 trophies and go, bollocks, if only City. It's mad. Just enjoy it. I think I seen the club flick the thing up today with the May fixtures. I remember when they flicked the one up from the April fixtures going, Jesus Christ, that's a mad run. All yeah. Was City away. And we're here again. It's May now. And we're still on all the dance floors, as Neil Atkins had said. Yeah. We literally have an opportunity now to make history one way or another. And all we can do is win our games. And I genuinely believe that we will. I believe we win all our games. But I just think the kicker is I think them fuckers will as well.
Yeah. A couple of things on you mentioned on bottling the league. Emma says if you're 14 points behind in January and you finish within a point, you've bottled nothing. If you hit over 90 points, there's no bottling from anyone, says Sam Tandy. Yeah. It's teams like Chelsea United who have bottled it and couldn't stay in a race after Christmas. Owen Book says, lads, you've been predicting City falling apart for over a month now, and it doesn't look like happening. It doesn't look like happening, but it's not say it won't.
And they don't even have to fall apart. They just have to drop a point.
They just have to make one bad decision in one game where they let something in.
It's not about falling apart. It's just literally like that'll be the margin. it'll be like dropping a point. And I was watching the title race in Serie A last week, and I seen the fucking mistake that
The goalkeeper made.
off Inter made.
Inter, yeah.
It just
Needs
takes something
something
like
like
that. It just takes something like that, you know, and that it could be at either end. You know, like it could happen to us, it could happen to them. So just strap in. It's absolutely mad. And the thing, and I genuinely believe it. I said it after the Burnley game on a fan cam that whoever finishes above us will win the league. I think we'll win it next year regardless. I genuinely do, because 19-20 was pretty much the same. Man, it was just seemed like a bit of a rocket, and we never fucking stopped, and they couldn't keep pace. And I can see it going the same way again. That's just my 2 pence.
Well, look, we have to wait and see. Dicko, are you on the same page as Seany, or are you still on board the quadruple bus?
Our league's gone, Gav. At this point, 4 games to go.
Who fucking has this prick on?
No. In all seriousness, I think it's going to take something a bit freaky. You know, the one thing I'm holding out for is City getting a mad red card. I mean, they did they lose a game against? Was it against Palace when they get a man sent off early on in the game? That we need something a little bit out the ordinary, and I think something like a red card, you know, a crazy mistake or whatever. I know we sort of, and I'm guilty of this myself. We obsess about goal difference. That's probably the one thing it won't come down to now. I mean, it would require them to lose a game and us to draw a game to get it to goal difference. We literally need them to have one draw. We need them to but the opposition, it's all down to the opposition to me. There's no one in them 4 games I feel like is gonna do anything against Manchester City, in all honesty. And look, if it is a point, it is a point. It's absolutely maddening that we are going to find ourselves, by the looks of it, in the same position as we did a few years ago. But the reality is we've won a league. So there's that monkey was off the back. So it hurts less in that respect. And look, this has been an amazing season. Like, we've still got an FA Cup to go for. You know, I'm bullish that we'll beat Chelsea in the FA Cup final and another Champions League final, you know, barring a catastrophe against Villarreal tomorrow, another Champions League final. And do you know what? It would just be, look, if we can get to that, as much as I don't want to play Manchester City in the final, because the last thing you'd want to do is the double whammy of losing the Champions League final. Losing the Champions League final and it being City would be absolutely horrible. But at the same time, if we go there and beat them in a Champions League final, I think it would more than make up for losing this league in my eyes if we beat them in a Champions League final.
Well, there's 4 chances left. 4 chances for Liverpool to put points on the board, and 4 chances, hopefully, for City to make some sort of slip somewhere. And all, like you've all said, all we can really do is, you know, look to win our games and hope that something happens. But until if it goes down to the last day, so be it. I'm ready for it. I'm absolutely ready.
I don't even want to play in the FA Cup final. I just want to win one of the other 2 trophies. Seriously, I'm honest to God.
Well, I want to win the FA Cup. I want to win them all.
I do.
What day now? It's not like you have to play a lot of what day now, Phil.
Just don't turn up that day. Just like everyone's waiting for them to come out, and just don't turn up.
I want all of them this season. Next season, it wouldn't bother me.
If we win the FA Cup, it would literally mean that Klopp has won everything he possibly could, bar the second-rate competitions like the Europa League and the Conference.
The FA Cup.
Yeah, well, I want them all. Before we move on, we've I don't know how many winners and losers we have left, because I can't remember what the lads picked. I have to give a shout out to IP Vanish. Veranda Cheese, turn off your computer for the next minute or so, because you'll lose the plot every time I do this. IP Vanish is a VPN service that protects you online. It protects your password, your location, all that sort of stuff, all your data. If you would like to use a VPN service, do go and check out IP Vanish. Most VPNs are probably between 8 and 15 quid a month, to be honest. This one at the moment is $2.20 if you use the special link from us. Okay, it can be used on your phone, your tablet, your desktop, anywhere, any device while you're on the move, at home, whatever way you want to do it. So check out IP Vanish. It's www.ipvanish.com/Daytrippers, and you will get that offer. It's around, you're saving about 70% on the yearly subscription. Who do we start with? We started
with me.
Yeah, because your internet was shit. And all the money we get from IP Vanish, we might get Dicko with one of those little internet extenders, and we'll be able to hear him all the time every week. Dicko, you started with, I think, did you start with a loser or a winner? I can't remember. What have you got for us?
Yeah, so I'm going to go to my winner, which is Jurgen Klopp. I mean, I know we're talking about, potentially losing out on the league and whatnot, but like over the last week, I mean, just aside from the whole contract, which I think, if you want a school in PR and whatnot, just look at that whole timeline of, Jurgen Klopp's contract.
We're saving up for a new mic for Phil as well, by the way.
I'm just going to hold it here. Go full Elvis now, because it's one of these funny shout jokes as well.
You had a real mic set up there last week that you were going banging on.
I haven't picked up the mixer from the studio. So once I pick up the mixer from the studio, I'll have that.
Sorry, Dicko.
We'll have masking tape at the back of this mic.
Go on, Dicko.
So in terms of the whole kind of announcement around the contract, I mean, I thought it was, some of the videos that got put out and the way that, Klopp handled himself and the message that came across loud and clear, that he absolutely, loves Liverpool and that he wants to be here for another 4 years. That's the off the pitch stuff. The on the pitch stuff, I mean, these games at the moment, in terms of the rotation, in terms of the team selections, I mean, a lot of people obviously raised a lot of eyebrows at the team, especially when you see the likes Milner on the team sheet, Gomez coming in for Trent, a few question marks. Obviously, a lot less question marks these days than there was when he used to do that, say 2 or 3 years ago. But he's been an absolute master over the course of these last few weeks, where, let's face it, we're basically going to play every single game in a season that we could have actually played. And, the fact that the players come in don't seem to miss a beat. I mean, like, at the end of the day, the buck stops with Klopp if anything goes wrong, and you've got to absolutely praise him for everything that's happening at the moment. We're coming into the month of May, everything's still to go for, and throw the additional 2 years in the mix just at the right time for me, when it's going to almost get the highest impact, both with the players and the fans. I just think it's been a brilliant week for Klopp.
It has been, and you could see the emotion after the game when they beat Newcastle. He's really, really, really happy with it. But Seany, I'll come to you. Like, Thursday was brilliant. We done a show Thursday night. It was excellent, talking about Jurgen Klopp and what's gone before and what's to come and stuff like that. But how cool he is, like, Sean, he's doing a pre-match press conference, and he makes a remark about Newcastle taking one of his analysts, and he doesn't get deep into it. He just goes on, by the way, I think his name was Mark or something like that, and he goes, Mark, just to let you know, we play a completely different team to what you think we're going to play, and laughs. And this is a guy that's like we've said, has like every game is a cup final, every game feels like a Champions League final, and he's just sitting in press conferences, sending out messages to former workmates saying, don't be worrying, we'll play something different. And then he puts that team out, and they're brilliant at the weekend. Like Phil said, we just didn't get enough goals. It is a brilliant weekend from Seany, from the contract right down to winning that game, because that was one that you picked out as a tough one in the run-in, and he just mastered it because we battered Newcastle. The scoreline doesn't say it, but we battered it.
Klopp is the master at taking the pressure off his team and his players. That's what he does really well. You can even see when he sends young players out onto the pitch, he turned around to Touble Martin before the Porto game saying, if anything goes wrong, it's my fault. And he always takes responsibility, and therefore takes the pressure off. And then he makes sure to heap the praise on James Milner after the game he has on Saturday. So Klopp has got the buy-in here off every single player in that squad. He's literally had them all in. And maybe people are saying Chamberlain is a bit of a bad egg and throwing a strap, and he hasn't been seen since. He had a little wobbler against Nottingham Forest, but he's done that brilliantly. He's managed this team, and that was one of the probably criticisms you could have had of Klopp, is that his squad rotation hasn't been the best. But he's literally been doing this since early December, and it's paying dividends now. Like, it looks like the tank is full. We've pretty much a full squad regarding injuries. Like, it looks like Bobby is going to travel with the team. He said he doesn't know whether he's going to take part, but you wouldn't know. So, yeah, look, Jurgen Klopp, the fact he's staying. The big thing for me was I was afraid that we were going to have to strong arm Klopp into signing another contract where there would have been sort of an arm wrestle thing begging him to stay, but it seemed to be quite the contrary. He seemed to be delighted to sign on. There was talk that he didn't seem to want any extra financial incentive. The main thing for him was that his family was happy and his missus was happy, and it just seems like he wants this to continue, because I don't know whether it's a fact of smell and blood. I think Klopp sees a chance now to create a real dynasty with this team, because we don't know what's going to happen with Pep. He's likely to self-destruct at any minute or hang on and sign on, but I think Klopp will fancy himself, because the thing for me is the quality of the two teams out in front. Klopp's maybe looking at it going, how long is it going to take Chelsea to build a 90-point team with what's going on there? I don't know, because that's what it's going to take now. He's looking at United going, how long is it going to take them to build a 90-point team? I don't know. Okay, so are we going head-to-head with City for another couple of years? Do you know what? Sign me up. I love this group of players we have here. There's a new youthful touch to the squad that we've seen now, where it's not even Klopp 2.0 was what we were all waiting for, but it just seems to have come and gone. It looks like he's into building sort of a third team at this stage now, because 2.0 is this team that we're looking at now, when he's already planning on adding to this in the future. It's crazy what we have. The fact he's the longest serving manager now in the Premier League with Deutsch gone. We're so blessed to have him at the helm. He's the great equaliser. He's the great hope. He's the greatest manager in the world at this given time, and I'm just so fucking glad he's ours, because when you look at the shit shows that's going on with other clubs, Chelsea for example, it's who knows what's going to happen with City. I think we're in a position now to really go on and challenge on all fronts in the next couple of years, and long may it continue, because I was genuinely dreading 2024, because the ghost of Steven Gerrard was hanging around, and everyone and others, and there was a big thing about succession plan and this and that. Well, that can has been firmly kicked down the road now, and it looks like Klopp is gearing up to go again.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing about it as well, like you talk about Manchester City and Pep and whatnot. I mean, Klopp's proved that this team is more than capable of going toe to toe with Man City, for the next few seasons, and this Man City who've got unlimited funds at their disposal. Pep must be thinking, why aren't we winning this league by 10, 15 points every season? Because if it wasn't for Klopp and Liverpool keeping them at it, I'm honest, I mean, this thing would just be absolute snooze fest. The Premier League, it'd be over by February every season. It really would. So fair play to him, for keeping at this and making it, an absolute kind of rivalry, hopefully for the next few years, because I actually don't mind if Pep sticks around in some respects.
The rumour is that you'll extend till 2025. Phil, good weekend for Klopp last Thursday, Wednesday, whatever day you wanted it to be. And then the weekend and the run up to the game, and his comments after the game, and his comments leading into this game. He's just on a different level for me, Phil. He really is in everything he does.
Yeah, I just wish the sport wasn't fucking so sports washed at this stage. Honest to God, I know he's developed a team that can go toe to toe with City, but if there wasn't so much bad money running through that club, you'd get to see a real estimation of what that would be, and you wouldn't have had to build a 90+ team. That's the other side of it. You'd be building a team that gets you maybe 89 to 92 points to win the league. Having to build teams that are capable of getting 100 points. That's what we're talking about here. To win the league in England at the moment, you have to build a team that's capable of getting 100 points. That's ridiculous. And typically that typically happens with one team in a league. Think of PSG, think of Bayern Munich, think of Juventus normally in Italy, as it's been for the last 20 years. And in Spain, you'd have Barcelona and Real Madrid, who are capable of putting up 90 plus totals, and then nobody else can. And we've created this. There's no team outside of Manchester City and ourselves have ever done this. Even when Arsenal United were going head to head, they were winning leagues on 82 and 84 points. You know what I mean? Like they were winning leagues on Chelsea. Okay, so you have Mourinho's year. What's it? 98 points he puts up in terms his best year that was there. But nobody's within an arse's roar of Chelsea when they were doing that type of stuff. So it comes back to what we've done to be thereabouts at City. It should be, as I said to you, it should be relished. And I hate to bring up the Moyes thing again, but like if we don't win the league this year, to do what we've done, to be this close to them at this point of the season is ridiculous, given how far behind we were. Right, we've no right to have caught them and brought it down to what we're talking about, which is another head-to-head shootout that's going to end up with a 95, 94 point probably. Like, what's the likelihood? We're on 82 at the moment, is it?
80. Yeah. Is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's 12 points left. We're on 82.
82.
We can get to 94.
94
right?
Is what we're.
Worst outcome of this is that we end up at 90 points. Right, that's what I reckon is our worst possible outcome, that we end up at 90 points with the last 4 games, and then I look at City. They probably end up somewhere in 94 or 95. So this to me is mind-bogglingly head-wrecking. Sorry, they end up at 93 or 95 because if they draw one game, that's where they end up. Right, so we'll either win the league by a point or lose the league by a point. Do you know what I mean? It's so infuriating yet so brilliant, yet so infuriating. Yet so brilliant all at the same time. It is. Klopp himself echoed what I was saying on Thursday, Gavin, in the press conference on Friday, that it's about the journey as much as it's about the success. It's about the ride. It's about the being able to enjoy, being able to turn on the match and relish being involved in this. Like, right, we sat through decades of garbage, right? Dreaming of a chance when we'd be within a chance of winning the league with 3 games to go. My benchmark was always being, if we go into the last 2 games of the season with a chance of winning the league, then I'm happy, because that means that we are thereabouts, and eventually we get over the line. And while we mightn't win 5, 10, 15 trophies because you've got Manchester City there, with this continuity and consistency that's there, we will win another league title. That's guaranteed. We will win another league title within the next 3 years, right? So that's what's going to happen. And the Champions League, like I'm a firm believer, we somehow always end up in a Champions League final every 10 years. We've ended up in 2 with Klopp so far. If we get into this one, we're into the 2020s. There's our Champions League final for the 2020s. Now, and I still expect us to be thereabouts again throughout the decade. But look at it, we've done one in the 90s, we've done one in the teens, we've done 2 in the teens, and we're heading into one in the 20s. And that was there was 1 decade since the 1970s that we haven't been in a Champions League final, or a European Cup final, which was the 1990s. So, like, this is as bad as times have been. How good times have been again at this moment of time is to be relished, and it's to be enjoyed. And as much as people are saying, "Oh, I've got a bad feeling about Spurs and I've got a bad feeling about this," everyone has it. It's just nerves. That's all that is. That's anxiety and nerves, because we don't want to see the run come to the end. We don't want to see the challenge come to the end. We don't want to see that enjoyment of being there in the race with it. And that's all down to Jurgen Klopp. I said it, I went on loads of rants about him on Thursday because I was really happy about it. But like, it goes back to my point. The journey and the ride, to me, is as important as the trophies, because 100%. It's taken us so long to get there, and it's because of him. It's because of him that us as a fan base can enjoy it. And these gobshites that are out there who are going on and banging on that FSG out, or this is this, and we're not going to win, and on, like, bin, bring them to the recycling centre, stick them in there, because they can go off and support the Norwich United or whoever they want to go and support. Like this, let's just leave them out there, because this is to be relished and it's to be enjoyed, and long may it continue.
I see loads banging on about Haaland in the chat as well. The fella's busted. 22 years of age and he's falling apart. I'd actually be delighted if I see to blow a chunk on him. That's the god honest.
There's a lot of injury issues there with him.
And I'm not just saying that, I mean it. Yeah, man, Schick has more goals than him in the bleeding Bundesliga this year. Who couldn't get counts out for a banjo. Haaland pushing himself through injury. Coming to England's not going to do him any good. the way it is. City want to blow all the cash in them. Is he going to push City over 100 points? There's not going to be much of a difference. There's still going to be a 96, 97 point team. That's the way it's going to be. It's going to probably come down to the games against them again.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he's a good player, but going on like it's the be all and end all, I think it's silly. There's no answer to this question. They will need us to collapse with injuries again, similar to the way we did last year, because we were running away with the league last year before all the injuries again.
Yeah.
So everyone going on about it, it won't keep me up. I genuinely won't.
No, I look more to what Liverpool are doing.
I think it's a big scandal of a signing, to be honest with you. I think everyone is getting scammed over with it, with the money and all going around. Obviously, what's happened with Mino Raiola and all, it's, however you feel about it, it's not good to see, but someone's going to end up paying too much money for this fella. You heard the Dortmund president coming out last week saying, we're telling this fella to go and get MRI scans, and his outfit saying, no, just give him injections and let him play on. It's not good for him. It's not good for a young player.
He's not going to end up at Liverpool because Klopp has already said he wouldn't go near that with that sort of money. I'd be more interested in what Liverpool are going to do. They've been.
I don't care about signings. I think this team goes again.
No, I think it will go again, but I think that Liverpool will definitely add 2 in the summer, and you'd be quite happy with it.
They're going to sign Timo Werner and sell Niguez of Chelsea.
I watched Werner yesterday for Chelsea. My Jays, he's not even a footballer.
He just needs a pre-season with Klopp.
No, he actually just does need someone to take him literally by the hand and walk him through what football is again.
Do you know where he would succeed immensely? Right, if Dortmund signed him to replace Haaland, I'm telling you now, right, the fellow will be banging the goals in and back rootless in the Champions League because his confidence will come back. Chelsea is a basket case for centre forwards. He
needs to go somewhere where he's in a team that loves playing counter.
Gav, Chelsea's a basket case for centre forwards. Look what's happened to Werner. Look what happened to
Lukaku. Was the same going back there.
Lukaku. Look at all the players, all the centre forwards have gone there, and it's just been a graveyard. Even when Shevchenko went there, he couldn't hit the arse off a Bandor. Like Torres, as bad as his knees were, he actually forgot how to score goals as well. Like he couldn't finish in front of the goal. He was terrible for Chelsea. It's just like Chelsea cannot sign these strikers and then they forget how to score goals. The best thing that ever happened to Chelsea was the fact that they were so bad that they put Havertz into what was the Gerrard role under Rafa, where he just plays off whatever frontman is there and can just drift into the box and score loads of goals because he's a lethal finisher. But they never have a conventional striker because all the conventional strikers fall to absolute bits when they sign for Chelsea.
Morata, Lukaku.
Yeah, there's loads of them. Seany, what have you got left? Loser of the week? Have you got loser of the week left, Seany?
Yeah.
I think we have 2 losers left. Go on.
I changed my loser about 10 minutes before the show because originally I'll touch on the first one. The original one was Norwich because I genuinely think the narrative around them, they get away with fucking murder. Yeah. I think it's a joke.
I said this.
Go up, come down, go up, come down. The sooner the parachute payments are gone, the better for them because it's just a fucking joke the way people just accept them coming up and going down. When you look at teams who come up, at least Fulham will come up now this year and they'll spend a lot of money. It might be a shy, but they'll have a fucking go at staying in the Premier League. Norwich don't even bother their arse. Yeah. And I'll transition from Norwich because there was fellas going around with green and gold flares at Old Trafford earlier. And some bloke was holding up a sign saying walk out on 73 minutes and it was 2 minutes into added time and he was still standing there holding the sign. And it was literally like a lot of them just went to go for burgers and for a piss. And people expecting the Glazers to be watching this, I'd be surprised if they even knew there was a game on tonight.
They're doing more damage than good to them, to their own thing, aren't they?
It's actually laughable that the stadium was full at full time for the players doing that last corner. And it was. Nobody left. And it's all this green and gold till United it's sold. I done a thing earlier where I just typed in on Google, right, and left the auto search on. Glazers out 2-0, and I went 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012. I think 13 they skipped it because they win the league.
Yeah.
Every year now since Fergie left, like, are an absolute shower of shite. Gav, and you know Dar, a lad that we speak to on Xbox. I was watching the game there, and I was chatting to him while I was watching it, and he was going, "Fucking Glazers." I was like, "Right, what more do you want them to do, right? Because they spend a boatload of cash." But they take money out of the club. Yeah, but it's not to the detriment of their ability to spend. They spend way over the odds every year. They bought Sancho for 70, 80 odd million. Varane, look at some of the shite they had on the pitch. Wan-Bissaka on the bench. Harry Maguire is not even the cousin of a footballer, and he's still the most expensive centre-half round of the year. And these fellas are going around going, well, I just want the Glazers out because I literally don't know what else I have to moan about. And Gary never said that on his podcast. So grow up.
Yeah.
He's fucking gang of saps. The stadium is falling down. The training ground's a load of bollocks. You're just finding things to fucking whinge about. They'll be all happy in their nappies again when August is coming around and they're at the making 7 or 8 of these big fucking signings, and Eric Ten Hag comes in and they beat Norwich 5-0 on the opening day of the season, and then again,
well, they'd have to be in the championship doing that, Sean. But I know your sentiments.
They beat fucking Norwich's replacement. Norwich are back up. The FA just said that the Premier League said to Norwich, do you know what? We won't even bother. We'll just keep you up, and they're just going to be rooted to the bottom of the table for eternity, and they're going to play United the opening weekend of every season, so they can beat you 5-0, and they can all be saying, we're going to win the league in 2020. They've surpassed what Liverpool were in the 90s now at this stage, because it's literally perpetual motion, this circle of life that they have going on, where it's negativity, it's positivity, it's negativity again, it's Glazers out, it's new signings, it's positivity.
I know the Glazers are now an insurance policy for them. That's what they are.
It's literally fucking Groundhog Day. Bill Murray is the next manager, and he's just going to stand there on the sideline. Every time Sky go to him, he's just going to go, well, it's Groundhog Day, and Ronaldo's going to be 50 there, still scoring 20 goals a season, and there'll be 40-year-old men doing the celebration in the stadium and in the pubs and in the streets, and United, Glazers out. Have you ever seen such a load of bollocks, green and gold? You haven't got a clue.
And they're all standing there in their United jerseys.
I take offence to that.
Stephen Mack says,
I take offence to that 40-year-old shout, right?
We're
out celebrating the street, Sean. There's not much you can do.
Yeah, so do I now, actually. Now that I think of it, so fucking annoying.
Talking in broken Portuguese, saying fucking, like, honestly, I was at the dart. Lads, I swear to me life, I was at the dart last week, and you know how I knew my live score wasn't working, right? My live score wasn't working because I had no internet access. But you know how I knew Ronaldo scored?
Somebody stole up into the one of those.
There was a lot of 30 and 40-year-olds in the stands in the Tree Arena going, see. I goes, either they're all having spasmo attacks, or United are 1-0 up, or Ronaldo has scored or something.
Can I say, right? If I was the Glazers now, right? I'd look at everything to make a book. You have to make a book out of this, right? If I was the Glazers, I'd be onto Adidas and say, lads, next season there's only one thing. I want a green and yellow away strip. I don't want any other choice. I want the green and yellow away strip, right? So that at least we can go and you can give us the money. So when they want to protest, they can put their away kit on. And then
Seany's frozen there, by the way, and he looks amazing.
He's frozen, isn't it? But honestly, right, green and yellow kit by Adidas, and the Glazers pocket all the money for the green and yellow. And actually, I do a deal with Adidas that the money goes directly to the Glazers from the green and yellow kit, right? That's what I'd be saying. If I was now, whatever his name is, the Glazer who looks like old Daddy Glazer, I'd be straight on to Adidas saying, here's the deal. All I want is a green and gold kit away strip with the money coming direct to us, and we won't take any more money out. We won't take any dividends next year. We'll just do a profit share on the kit. Happy days. Job is done, Gav. Job is done. And they can buy. Who do you reckon they'll buy next year? Who do you reckon? Who's their big one?
Listen,
come here. Declan Rice, and for a million, for a 120 million. And then it's gonna be. So I'm interjecting here. It's gonna be a procession of, who do we have to buy to unlock Declan Rice? Like he's a fucking downloadable content character in a Call of Duty game or something for the next 2 or 3 years, because that's exactly what they do. And as long as Darren Fletcher is there calling the shots, looking like he's important on the bench, I will happily sit there and break me bollocks laughing at them, Gav, I'm going on mute for the rest of the pod.
Okay, well, before you do, Stephen Mack says, happy in your nappy, in their nappies. Gonna add that to my book of Seany. Andy O'Chill says they had a protest last week and they came late. Neville saw them come in and thought they were late because of traffic. I nearly fell off my chair. So there you go. That's how in touch Gary Neville is. I keep saying it. If Manchester United fans are listening to Gary Neville about how that club should be run after he asked the Glazers to spend up to $3 billion on improving everything around the team and the facilities, only to walk away after it.
And don't forget Rio Ferdinand's list of things to do.
Rio Ferdinand,
make players better, develop players,
win trophies, win trophies.
No, it was have the right outlook, sign players, give you the chance, play football, and wear the same colour jerseys or something like that. He said,
green and yellow.
But it was actually. But listen, come here. There's no mystery in what the Glazers done at Manchester United. None whatsoever. There's no mystery that they take money out. They take a dividends every year, right? Because they're the main shareholder and they take their dividends out. Okay? There's no mystery around that. But right now, the Glazers are an insurance policy for Manchester United fans. And what I mean by that is, when it's all good, they're great and they're back. I've already seen lovely fancy designs of Erik ten Hag standing there, with like this fucking deadly skyline behind them, and there's a possible 11 next season, and out of that possible 11, 7 of them aren't even at the club, but that's how it works now, and they'll all be there come the start of next season, and it'll all be great. And then when they win at the opening day of the season, like Seany says, it'll be like, we're back. This Manchester United's official Twitter page, after they beat Leeds on the opening day of the season, said, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, and then showed United top of the league. Half the fucking clubs in the league hadn't played a game. All right, so that's the level you're at. And when it goes bad, they go, the Glazers are the problem, right? The Glazers aren't the problem. I'll tell you what the problem is. The Glazers let these people run the club. Who do you put in charge? Yeah, it's probably their problem. But when you have outside interference like that, having such a hold on a support base, who then take that hold and walk into grounds and make an absolute abomination of fucking a protest, that's where the issue is. And nobody's pulling in the right direction, and you listen to all the wrong fucking people. And listen, there was a fella on TalkSport the other week saying he was a United representative for some supporters club, and Simon Jordan took him a fucking sunder. And he didn't even try hard. I think Simon Jordan just asked him, what score was United last night? And your man didn't know what the fuck was going on. They are an absolute shit show. And
Glazers need to just come out and say, do you know what, Gary Neville, gonna make you the manager. Paul Scholes, you're director of football. Rio Ferdinand,
you're head coach. There you go.
You're director of fucking Egypt.
Yeah.
Put them all in. Yous all know the answers, lads. Yous are in the media every week backing your mate Ole. Have a go there. Yeah. That's what that'll be the. If Ten Hag doesn't work, they are fucked.
Thor reckons that Declan Rice and Harry Kane are nailed on for United, but remember they will not collapse like Liverpool. I was actually thinking the other day, I think Liverpool might have a sniff for Harry Kane. So there you go. Dicko. Manchester
Unless
United.
Unless Ricky Lambert Mark II, for fuck's sake.
Green and gold. Green and gold till United is sold. All the taglines. They're a joke, aren't they?
Yeah, it's...
don't freeze on me now, Dicko.
It's actually, you kind of forget because Liverpool, you forget. So, yeah. Oh, we're back.
Yep.
You forget because you kind of fixated on Liverpool's success over the last few seasons. So you kind of forget. I mean, they're going into the 10th season. Well, it'd be 10 seasons, won't it, since they won the league? And that time has gone amazingly quickly. You forget really sort of how long it's been since because it's scarred. The film sort of alluded to it. Like, we all remember how bad it was, not just because we were struggling to try and restore our greatness from a bygone era, but also because they were just absolutely dominant domestically, although thankfully they didn't impose that dominance in Europe and had multiple European Cups. But right now they are, like, the graphic went up before the game tonight, like, You know, they finished so far adrift, and even the seasons where they finished second, like they've never looked like winning the league. They've never looked like real challengers. They've been in seasons where, you know, the league's been won handily, and they've just kind of fallen into second. Really, like they've got nowhere near a 90-point season in them, nowhere close. And I honestly would really like welcome them getting a nice, easy, you know, 3 or 4 games to start next season, and for all of these kind of narratives about them being back and all of this, you know, a couple of promoted sides, a couple of, you know, sort of mid-table sides, blow them out the water, maybe Ronaldo get a few goals, and them all absolutely lose control of themselves, be top of the league after 4 games, and just watch it all disintegrate again, because there'd be nothing more enjoyable, you know. So look, I don't think this is changing anytime soon. Obviously, they're pinning their hopes on a new manager. Maybe they will. You know, look, they've finished 6th. They've done the happy clappy, you know, the lap of honour, which, you know, we've done time and time again.
Is that the last home game of the season?
Yeah, that was it. That's just how the fixtures went. They were due to play Chelsea, but that got rearranged.
So they've 3 away games to finish.
Yeah. They've only got 2 games
left.
Oh,
2 to finish. Okay,
2 games left, so 2 away games, and you know, that you know, that's a season that completely fizzled out for them. Absolutely no chance of top 4 Europa League football, locked in for next season. And I hope they get to the final again and lose. I mean, that was another glorious part of this whole chapter. You know, getting to that European final, thinking they were back, you know, in the big time, thinking that they only had to really turn up to beat Villarreal, and then losing it in a penalty shootout where the keeper misses the penalty. I mean, there's so many glorious sort of parts to this downfall for United. And the one thing that puts a smile on my face in every United game, don't think it happened tonight, maybe he wasn't there, but generally when they're having an absolute nightmare on the pitch, the camera goes on to Sir Alex Ferguson, and it puts a little smile on your face, knowing that he's there watching all of this, you know, the shit shows unfolding after we had to go through what we had to go through when they were so dominant.
Yeah, it's like they're pinning it on Ten Hag, and like, as much as they give out about the Glazers, they're going to back him in the summer. There's no doubt about that. It's getting players out that might be the issue. But United are the type that will go, oh, we can't get rid of them 5, fuck it, just leave them rotting there. A little bit like Phil Jones on about 100 and odd grand a week and just doesn't play. But they are the type of club that will just sit and let those rot until they can get rid of them or run out of contract. And they'll back this fella with, I think, 150 million plus in the summer. And like you said, if it goes well for first 4 games, you're thinking great. But if it doesn't, straight away, you're going to have Neville and Ferdinand and all them piping up yet again. You're going to have the whole Glazer stuff, and the shit trickles down, Dicko. Because if the owners are getting it, if they've any response whatsoever, it starts to trickle down and hit your manager, and it'll hit him very early. You know, he's making a massive step, in my opinion, from Ajax to Manchester United, just in terms of the leagues he's gone from. And if it goes wrong early, it could be one where you're going 10 games in here, and they literally could get rid of this fella.
I think they'll give him a chance. I think, you know, they've not given managers, you know, much. I mean, they give Ole too much of a chance, although there was obviously a big sort of part of the fan base that turned on him. But I think they're almost would be so desperate now for this to actually work that I think they'll hold back unless it's absolute carnage and they're in the bottom half of the table and they're kind of, you know, sort of almost, you know, sort of flirting with the relegation zone. I think they will be patient. You know, I think they will be patient. I think they'll.
I wouldn't be so sure, Dicko.
I can see already the pressure mounting on Ten Hag, because you had the likes of Neville saying that they wanted Poch. There's rumours coming out saying that some of the players wanted Poch. Like, there's already signs that the circus hasn't exactly rolled out of town, because Ten Hag is taking the Austria job while working part-time for United.
No,
Ragnick. Ralph Ragnick.
Sorry, Ragnick. Yeah, sorry. It's like it looked like every time they look like they're getting their house in order, It's like there's a little shit show story on top of it to just make you go, look, they're still United, relax. And when you're seeing Ragnick going, yeah, I'm going to manage Austria, I only have to do 6 hours a month or something working for United. Like, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like, international football is not a part-time job. No, people think it is. It's not. You don't just show up and train a team 2 weeks. He has other things. It's mad. I can't believe that they're allowing it to go on. It's still also scattergun. They're going on about this Paul Mitchell fella, Willie Wonty. They still seem to be making it up as they go along.
Phil, who's your loser of the week?
BT Sport.
Okay.
Where do I start? After we beat Villarreal, they were slating Villarreal's approach to Anfield and stuff like that. This is about 3 days after they were fucking hyping up and glorifying everything for showing the tenacity to put men behind the ball and try to get a result out of Liverpool. Mainly because one fella's called Frank Lampard and the other fella's called Unai Emery. Then on Saturday, we're at the Newcastle game and Jake Humphries is commending Newcastle for setting up a great, for the Saudi owners setting up a great club and showing people how to run a football club. I'm like, is this fucking for real? Is this honestly for real? That these guys are caught like, and what annoys me about BT Sports coverage is because when it originally came on air, they had James Richardson, your man Horncastle, they had Honigstein, they had they basically had all the guys off was it the Guardians podcast at the time or the Independent, which in terms it was there, and it was phenomenal because it was really, really enjoyable, entertaining coverage with insight and knowledge and all this type of stuff. And since your man Jake Humphries has gotten any level of celebrity out of it, it's become absolute garbage. He's a donkey head, right? He's full on donkey brains when he's on the television. He shouldn't be allowed to talk to the camera. They need to remove him. And then they're pundits. Like, why do they feel that they have to get ex-pros on? Right? And this is a general comment to all these things, because when you look at the people who write about the game, they often can speak about the game better than the ex-pros can. The ex-pros tell you nothing. They've been media trained to give away nothing and to tell you nothing from the whole time they're in the game. It's all platitudes and niceties, and that continues into their analysis of the game. That's why when you see somebody like Souness, for example, or even for Carragher and Neville, in terms, they are given something, right? And they're not prepared. They're prepared to say a bit. I'm not saying they're going to say everything, but they're prepared to say a bit that's there. But you look at these, they had your man Crouch on, and they had, I don't know, did Michael Owen on, who basically
Michael Owen was doing backflips by the time the end of the
Michael
Owen
game says Michael Owen's analysis for every game is the exact same, right? If you could put Michael Owen, you could take Michael Owen from any match and just put him up after every game. They don't even have to have him there. They can just record him and just have him standing in front of a green space that looks like a pitch, and he says the exact same thing over and over again. You can just get his name. You know the way they use the names in FIFA. You can just put them saying the names in and saying the same thing over again. It's awful. It's fucking awful, and it's like it's a travesty that BT Sport have any type of football. I don't know how they're still going.
Well, they're trying to. The rumor is they're trying to sell their rights to the Zone in Canada. But if the Zone's coverage of the Katie Taylor fight on Saturday night is anything to go by, I dread to fucking see them covering the Premier League.
You know what? I can't get my head around. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's on his side, but what's your man? Peter Drury, is it? Incredible, like unbelievable. Listen, I get me dodgy streams from a dodgy place on dodgyland.com, and he's always there. I think, is it him I'm thinking about? Who's the fella that did Pro Evo?
This Peter Drury. I mean, he's essentially on the Premier League's kind of global.
How come Peter Drury and Jim Beglin should be given every gig for every game? They're unbelievable together. And I can't believe that neither Sky or BT haven't handed these fellas a blank check.
Yeah,
because they're unbelievable.
Honestly, like they're so much better than Tyler and anyone that he put beside Tyler, right? For a start, Drury seems to enjoy football. That's always a start.
He loves football.
Yeah.
He loves it, no matter who's playing.
Whereas Martin Tyler is the Mark Lawrenson of commentators now at this stage. He sounds like he hates commentating. He sounds like he truly hates being part of football and involved in football, right? So outside of Drury and Beglin, but Drury and Beglin isn't the BT thing. They do the international coverage for the Premier League. So they must be employed by the Premier League as opposed to BT, you know what I mean, for the Premier League coverage. And then they also do coverage. They do coverage for who's got it? Is it CBS? You have the Champions League over here. It's Yeah, it's one of those.
It's just the Premier League feed that you get in different countries. Drury is doing the commentary on it.
Yeah, it's wonderful, but it's wonderful watching the games and listening to them, because even if your team is doing shy, you can still see the guy is genuinely excited by good things that happen in a match, and he understands it's not just a case of trying to say something smart. I find that Tyler's always trying to say something smart, and I don't mean smart by intelligence. I mean smart as being a smart bollocks. Like, do you know what I mean? In terms of snidey little comments that he makes about players and the best players that are in the league, thinking that everyone thinks at home is doing the same thing. Whereas Drury just gets football. I enjoy Beglin as well. I really like Beglin as a co-commentator. He adds colour. He's there to add colour, right? He's not there to
exactly. Well, that's what people think. Co-commentator means like co-commentator actually means colour commentator.
Yeah.
So that's someone to add in something on top of the analysis that's been given by the main fella, where they throw in a one-liner. But the amount of little like sound bites that Drury has for every game. You could be watching Leeds against Burnley and he throws something in about whoever the goal scorer is, because he's invested in it. He enjoys it. And you can tell that. Beglin is great, because Beglin can be sometimes that kind of dry wit, but he's good at the same time where he kind of calls it as it is. But that Neville going, oh, every time a decision is to be made, fucking like not a sexist thing. Yeah, woman on BT, Jesus Christ, tonight go through your head like fucking Panadol. The bleeding wreck your head, and I'm going, this doesn't add to the game. It's not. It doesn't add to the spectacle at all. Like, and that's what it's supposed to.
It even goes.
And normally, like you'd accuse Tyler of being guilty of it against Liverpool. Even for the City game the weekend, he was dreadful. Dreadful.
The one thing I would say about this, what I noticed, the Newcastle game, Fletcher, like he seemed to get really carried away in the whole atmosphere of, Newcastle. They came out with the fast start and whatnot, and he went full Tyler when Liverpool scored. For the next sort of like 20 minutes, like he was so deflated. It was like he thought he was maybe there to commentate on something that was
upset.
Commentate on something that was going to actually be impactful in the whole title race, and I think BT got caught up in it as well, that they were going to be the ones who were going to be, providing the big sort of the big news in the sports world that day, because shock Liverpool, and that was kind of going to almost end the title race. And they've got another chance to do it this week, with Spurs. I'm sure they'll be absolutely bigging up the likes of Son, who's in flying form, and Harry Kane. That's not sure. Yeah, they'll be on it. They'll be on it again. They'll be on one again Saturday night. And the other thing I noticed about Fletch the previous week is, for some bizarre reason now, Ian Dark is, he's a boxing commentator, always has been a boxing commentator. Well, for some reason, Fletch flips to the Tyson Fury fight, because he wants to be the big cheese, no doubt, because it was the big event in town that weekend, and Ian Dark's lobbed on a crappy BT game. So like, I've kind of lost a bit of respect there the last couple of weeks for Fletch, because he just seems to
he wants to be everywhere,
sort of playing to the gallery a lot more than what I had him down for.
Yeah, and then it doesn't even extend to that.
What's that?
It extends further than that, because Sky have your man that's around donkey's years that interviews them after the games.
Jeff Shreves.
Is it Jeff
Shreves?
Yeah. So he's on the bench during the games, and you'll see him at Anfield behind Klopp, and then he's in the tunnel doing the stuff, and you have that, and he just asks the questions, and sometimes he gets himself into a bit of trouble if it's kind of said the wrong way. But I don't think he goes out of his way to make trouble. I think sometimes he asks a question. I remember seeing one clip before, I think it's him with Roy Hodgson, and he asks Roy Hodgson a question, and Roy Hodgson literally loses the plot, starts cursing at him and everything. You have to start again. But when you look at BT, again, look, just going back on this thing where, this was going to be the day that BT would show when the title race would end and stuff like that. But Des Kelly is there. Right? Now, this is the same Des Kelly that was on the Anfield pitch, if you remember, after Barcelona were beaten 4-0, and he was grabbing players away from celebrating at the Kop to interview them. right? And loved every fucking minute of it. And he's the same Des Kelly that then has a go, I think, a Klopp away at Brighton, if I remember rightly. And he makes a big furore over that. And he's still at it. And I said it last week.
As well, Gav,
they are doing it. And I genuinely...
mentioned a lot of times that Klopp requested the game to be moved and all.
Yeah.
They said that 2 or 3 times in coverage.
Yeah, and then Des Kelly... I'd love Klopp to just tell Des Kelly to fuck off. I genuinely would. I would love him to just go up and go, listen, Des, would you ever go and fuck off? And then just walk off. Because Phil is right. Like, Sky do stuff for me. It's not punditry anymore. I don't call it punditry anymore. I refuse to. Because it's all about, and someone said it there, they don't want the best commentators. They want people that will say something that people will get annoyed at. You know?
Clickbait.
Yes, the whole reaction is much more valuable than the input now. It is across all them, and Sky are known for it. But when it comes to BT, they're trying to make themselves look intelligent, but they're doing the exact same thing as Sky. And I'm just sick watching them. I can't watch anything before. Mike alone before the game at the weekend was literally going on as if Liverpool were in the bottom 3 with the team that they put out. Genuinely. And then was doing backflips. It was like something at the fucking Olympics, you know, when they go on the floor and they do all the fucking flips and jumps, war games. And he was backflipping all over the shop come the end of it. And I'm kind of going, people are paying 100 quid a month for this. Are you fucking for real? Do you know what I mean? But
I mean, the Des Kelly thing with Klopp, like, I mean, after he interviews him at the end of the game, then Jake Humphrey immediately goes, so that's another 2 years that Des Kelly will be interviewing Jurgen Klopp, as if Des Kelly's any kind of relative sort of importance to Liverpool.
Yeah, as if Klopp went to Liverpool and went, listen, my wife wants to stay, but can we just make sure that Des Kelly keeps a job as well, so we'll stay for another 2 years? Like,
Klopp hates every one of them. You can just tell. And then, like, that was the biggest thing for me. Klopp hated football in the lockdown. No matter how bad he was. No matter how down he was. And look at the difference in him now. That's why I'm so surprised he stayed on. I'd say he walks back into the dressing room and he turns around and go, Pep or Hendo, you want to hear the shite there at the being asking me out there? I'd say they do. I'd say it is conversations that they do have. Because honestly, it like you said, it's literally now, what can we say to put in a YouTube thumbnail or clip that's going to get the most traction, or on a quote retweet on Twitter that's going to get people pointing?
But Seany, it's very simple, Seany.
They will chop up any comment without context and narrative just to push it.
Correct.
And gain traction. And that's why journalism has gone out the window. And then, like, they have Micah Richards and fucking Roy Keane, who are like Lethal Weapon on the fucking on the outline, and then they put
Bad Boys 3,
like, just fucking Micah Richards laughing at his own jokes for the now. It's and Roy Keane making the same face and saying the same things every week. Like, I'd love
them to do a follow up on a sequel to this. You remember Still Game? Do you remember Still Game with the 2 outlets in Scotland? Do you remember it? Yeah. I'd love Keane and Thing to do that in Manchester when they're about 60. I'd love to do them to do that, because it's like, but it's very simple, right? If you found a clip of Rio Ferdinand breaking down how a defender played in the game over 2 or 3 minutes, or you took the clip of Rio Ferdinand where he says, he's always at the wheel and all this shit, and put them side by side, you know which one is going to get more reaction. You know which one is going to be watched more, and you know which one BT will push.
I'll say one thing. At least the boys in BN Sports, at least they don't even try to hire. They literally have Andy Gray and Hardy Hands fucking keys, and they're just making misogynistic jokes, saying whatever they want, on the line, and it's literally like, here, lads, we have more money than God. Nobody's going to cancel us. You can say whatever the fuck you want. And they don't even hide it.
No.
It's literally, it's like what's the 2 fellas out of the Muppets, Marley and Bob, the 2 ghosts who are just like,
Yeah.
That's all they are. Yeah. That is lit. And they don't even hide it. And I sort of appreciate that. Like, they come back to Andy Gray after the Merseyside derby, and he was like a fucking bull in a china shop. Really was that, and really used to Richard Keys. just go to break. I don't really feel like that.
And you know what's on BN Sports when Wenger
Hang
or
on a second,
Mourinho
I'll press the button. I'll press the break button. Since we haven't got program, I'll just press the break button. Break, job done.
Do you know what? I don't want to talk. Can we talk about something else? Did you see the little one in the pink dress down at the front? And that's literally what I like. I don't give a shit. You don't even hide it. And I admire that in a way because it doesn't hide it. But now all they have now on Sky is, and what you think of that, Roy? Oh, that's not good enough on my day. And then they have Neville coming down acting like the blatant politician, and Carragher sitting there laughing at him now. Like, it's a fucking joke. I'm honestly sick of it. I used to love him, I used to love it, but it's shit now.
I said it ages ago. I think you know, when you see Neville doing his overlap stuff, it's good. But then when you actually see what's going on match days, it's so choreographed, it's untrue. And they should literally just go back to doing Monday Night Football where they break down different things. I'll be interested
to see if Neville brings Paul Pogba out onto a golf course now, asking him where he's going to go this summer.
Yeah. So
he's been kept hostage.
We have to go an hour and a half. Phil has to feed the child in 4 minutes. Davo, we have to ring him to tell him to get up and go to work, because he works at 11:30 at night as well, apparently.
We had a strange sport this week, and I completely forgotten what it was. It's got out of my head.
Try to remember. Seany,
an awful lot of stuff.
Anything else before we go?
No, that's it. It's fucking mad. We're at a situation now where there's a Champions League semi-final tomorrow night, and I feel like it's normal. And I won't go too much into it, but the first Champions League final, I know myself, there was a feeling of sort of like imposter syndrome I felt when we went to play Madrid and Kiev. I kind of felt that there was an element that was not thinking we deserved to be there, but that is definitely not the fucking case anymore. Well, literally have one foot in the Champions League final and this feels normal. This is unbelievable. And this is why I really don't give a bollocks what happens in the league. It's an absolute bonus going forward. If we can make it number 7, Jesus Christ, we just enjoy the ride. And then the ballot comes out and we're all going to be in Paris. And I swear to God, I'm going to lose.
I got an email yesterday to say
I'm going to lose my new job before I even get a chance to get my feet in the door.
I got an email last night or the other day to say that I'll know by the 6th of May if I was successful in the tickets. So you have probably got the same email. Dicko, anything else before we go?
No, just to say, tomorrow after we've clinched the place in the Champions League final, if you're one of those people who booked your flights and your hotels on the day that the final was switched to Paris, you're in very good company.
Yeah, and if you haven't, it's about $5,000 a night in Paris at the moment.
I had a look at the hotels today.
Oh my God!
There's about 4 hotels left, and they're all about $5,000 for the 3 nights. So
yeah, Dicko showed us that earlier. We got it for about £8 a night, I think. But I don't know where. It could be anywhere. We could be staying in the bleeding.
We're literally at the Eiffel Tower.
Are we?
Yeah.
In the Eiffel Tower? Are we staying there?
Yeah.
In a tent.
Do you know, I've even started.
Is that far from the ground?
It's about.
Just walk over there.
It's literally, I think it's about 40 minutes on the metro.
40?
Yeah.
It's about, I mean,
the slow train, isn't it?
You can get a fucking room closer to about $5,000 an oil if you want, and I'll
actually, do you know what? Can you have? Are you allowed cans? Are you allowed cans on the metro?
Yeah, cans and preps. That's part of the bleeding thing.
Cans and cans on the table.
Gav, we're going to be drinking cans at the top of the Arc de Triomphe after we win that European Cup. That's
is right. Is right, Dicko. Is right. Phil, anything else before we go? Did you
World Championship tag? That's what I was watching.
What were you watching?
World Championship tag finals.
Chasing?
Yeah, it's a real sport. I swear to God.
World Championship chasing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 hours watching.
Who won it?
It was an American team against an Israeli team. I'm not even messing, right? It's like a room. Say it's a room the size of, say, of a dressing room, right? And they have like obstacles in it. And a fella starts at the back and the other is the chaser. He comes in, right? And they're jumping over tables and everything. And the aim of the game is to touch the fella. And if you touch it, you're caught, but you have like 1 minute and 40 seconds to catch him. I swear to God, it's the most amazing television you can watch.
And is there a start line and a finish line? Or is it just run where you like?
So there's one fella who has to be caught, right? And there's another fella who's catching him, right? The fella who's catching him is the fella who's to be caught is at the back of the room, and the fella who's catching him is at the front of the room. He runs in and dives through a table to go after your man. The other fella's running up and down. Honestly, I swear to God, We have to Gav, we have to start putting clips up of this. I said it to Paddy. Paddy said to me, "Did you see this?" I said, "Yeah, but have you seen this?" And he came back to me with 20 minutes. That's brilliant. I'm going to have to watch more of this now. Like, genuinely, I sent the clip on to the lads.
World Championship chasing.
World Championship tag. I think it's in the World Games. Yeah,
same thing.
Chasing. Yeah,
yeah. James says it's real, and he's seen an advert for it. Fuck off. Veranda Cheese says, what sort of dressing room? Is it like a 20-foot container dressing room, or is it
2 20-foot containers put together?
Lengthwise, or
I actually seen it before. If anyone's familiar with Call of Duty, it's like the shipment map on Call of Duty. It's just a load of it's like a load of beams and like goalposts and like shipment containers and that flying. It's good to watch, to be honest with you.
It's mad.
It's
World Championship chasing. There you go. That has been winners and losers. We will be back tomorrow following the Champions League semi-final second leg with full-time Reds. Usually 2 people on that show, but we might go for 4 tomorrow night if all things go to plan. That's Tuesday. Wednesday night will be the midweek fix. Thursday we'll be off. Friday we'll have Sports Unplugged, and then Saturday night we will have full-time Reds after Liverpool v Spurs. Féileacáin is our charity partner. I had a big spiel about it last night. I'm not going to do the same today. The link is in the description. Donate if you can. If you can't, make people share it amongst friends, family, wherever you can. Donate or share. That is the show from us on that. That has been winners and losers. Thanks to Phil, Seany and Dicko. I've been Gav. Over now.
You're on.